What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, the Financial Conspirator, your guide for everything financials and conspiracies. You know why I'm making this video. You know why I'm here. Okay, the Bitcoin end game, the U.S. government accumulation, and the nation-state race. Why this isn't a sell the news event, and how Bitcoin is moving from institutions and corporations to sovereign nations. El Salvador, I know. Shout out to you, El Salvador. You have been so ahead of the pack, and you will go down in history. All right. Nobody's talking enough about Nayib Bukele. I will die on that hill. But how U.S. accumulation could trigger a global Bitcoin race. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. President Trump has officially signed an executive order to establish the Strategic Reserve. Let's just hear it.
Today we're signing, and this is very historic, an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is a promise that you made throughout the campaign, and today we're keeping that promise. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin that the federal government already owns, so it won't cost taxpayers a dime. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. And premature sales of Bitcoin over the past years cost American taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value, because we didn't have a long-term strategy.
Right.
Now we do. So.
And this is something you believe in fully?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And they made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Boom. Now, I hate to be like that guy, but just listening to the way he talks about Bitcoin, you fully back this, right? And we promised. I get the idea that President Trump doesn't fully understand why this is actually beneficial to the nation, to taxpayers, to citizens, to the world, to Bitcoin. Like, I don't think he really understands. I think he's just doing it because he promised it, and he knows that a lot of donors are expecting this. But nonetheless, great news. Budget neutral Bitcoin accumulation. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, they can't buy anymore. They can't buy anymore. It's just holding what they already seize." No. The US government can acquire Bitcoin without taxpayer cost. It has to be net neutral to taxpayers. The Securities of Treasury and Commerce authorized for budget neutral strategies. So as long as it doesn't cost taxpayers any money, they will be able to buy. So 39 billion in Bitcoin can be purchased immediately via the Exchange Stabilization Fund with no need for congressional approval. That doesn't cost taxpayers a dollar. All right. They can also sell alternative reserves, the cheese reserve, the gold reserves. They could maybe sell some bonds for MSTR bonds. That would be net neutral. There's a plethora of ways. So anybody who's telling you that this is a sell the news event, I'll let you know right now, I'm buying that. I'm buying whatever they're selling. Now, why is this the end game? The U.S. forces other nations like BRICS to follow because Bitcoin is a geopolitical hedge against inflation and sanctions. Inflation because of its scarce supply, and sanctions because it can be sent from anywhere to anyone without a middleman. There is no need for trust. Now, the supply shock. There's only 1.4 million Bitcoin left to be mined. Even less than that on exchanges. Millions of Bitcoin lost. So demand goes up as supply goes down. What happens to price? I don't think you need to be a Harvard student to understand this. Okay, so unlike the ETFs, which are forced to buy and sell on retail's short-term sentiment changes, the government is moving towards a long-term accumulation strategy. And as the minor block rewards decrease every 4 years, it'll be harder and harder to get more Bitcoin. So you're still early, but it's sort of getting to that middle phase. You're not really an early adopter anymore. It's getting close. Right? It's getting close. Bitcoin is shifting from corporate treasuries to sovereign reserves. Bitcoin is moving from a speculative asset to a reserve asset and a global reserve asset. So Bitcoin is competing for the value of money itself. $900 trillion asset. $900 trillion in assets versus 2 trillion. 900 trillion versus 2 trillion. And MSTR at 86 billion. And oh my god, MSTR owns 3% of the supply. 3% of the supply. MSTR owns more than all of the nation states combined. What's the value on that? Why isn't MSTR the most valuable company in the stock market? They own the most of the scarcest asset on earth. This is not financial advice. This is me asking a question to the audience. All right, leave a comment if you have an answer. I'll see you guys soon.